is Tina. We were eating a quiet dinner. My husband is not who I thought. This is my story. The night was normal. It was a Tuesday. I made chicken with rice. It was Mark's favorite meal. He was my husband. He sat across from me at our small wooden table. The kitchen was warm. The window was a little open. I could hear the sounds of the city outside. Cars were passing. People were talking. But inside our home, it was quiet. It was our quiet. Mark smiled at me. His smile was always warm. It made my heart feel full. He told me about his day. He worked in an office. He sold computers. It was a simple job. He said it was a good day. A customer was very happy. I listened, and I smiled too. My life was simple. My life was good. I loved my simple, good life with Mark. We had been married for 3 years. We lived in a small apartment. It was not big, but it was our home. We painted the walls yellow. We had a small plant near the window. I watered it every morning. Our life was like that plant. It was small and quiet, but it was growing. Suddenly, we heard a loud noise. It was a big bang. It came from the front door. The door of our apartment flew open. It hit the wall with a crash. I screamed. My fork fell from my hand. It made a loud clatter on my plate. Several men ran into our home. They were dressed in dark clothes. They looked very serious. They held big, black things in their hands. I did not know what they were. My mind was slow. I could not understand. "Police, get down on the floor," one man shouted. His voice was loud. It filled our small kitchen. Mark stood up very fast. His chair fell over behind him. "What is this?" he asked. His voice was shaking. I had never heard his voice shake before. 2 of the men grabbed Mark. They pushed him against the wall. He did not fight. He just looked shocked. His eyes were wide. He looked at me. I saw fear in his eyes. It was a fear I had never seen. They put his hands behind his back. I heard a clicking sound. They were handcuffs. They put handcuffs on my husband, my Mark. I was still sitting at the table. The chicken and rice were getting cold. My world was getting cold. I could not move. I just watched. It felt like a movie. It did not feel real. This was not my life. My life was quiet dinners. My life was watering a small plant. "What did he do?" I asked. My voice was a small whisper. I did not think they could hear me. One of the policemen looked at me. He had a hard face. He did not smile. "Ma'am, you need to stay calm," he said. "Calm? How could I be calm?" My husband was being arrested in our kitchen during dinner. They pulled Mark toward the broken door. He looked back at me one more time. "Tina," he said. His voice was soft. "I'm sorry." Then they took him away. The apartment was suddenly very quiet again. But it was a different kind of quiet. It was a loud quiet. It was an empty quiet. The broken door let in the cold night air. I was alone. I sat there for a long time. I do not know how long. An hour, maybe more. The food on our plates was cold. The life we had was cold. I stood up. My legs felt weak. I walked to the broken door. I looked out into the empty hallway. There was nothing there, just the sounds of the city. The city did not know my life had just broken. I closed the door. It would not lock. It was broken, just like my heart. The next day was a blur. I did not sleep. I sat on the couch all night. I looked at the things in our apartment, our photos on the wall, the books on the shelf, the small plant by the window. Everything looked the same, but everything was different. Who were those men? Why did they take Mark? Why did he say he was sorry? So many questions. No answers. My mind was full of questions. My heart was full of fear. I had to do something. I could not just sit there. I went to the police station. The building was big and gray. It felt cold. I waited for a long time. Finally, a woman called my name. I sat at a desk. The woman looked tired. "My husband was arrested last night," I said. "His name is Mark." She typed on her computer. Click, click, click. The sound was loud in the quiet room. She looked at the screen. She did not look at me. "Yes," she said. "He is here." "Why?" I asked. "What did he do?" The woman shook her head. "I cannot tell you that," she said. Her voice was flat. No emotion. "I am his wife," I said. My voice started to shake. "I need to know." She looked at me then. Her eyes were not unkind, but they were not kind either. "The investigation is active," she said. "We cannot share details. You can see him for a short time." They took me to a small room. It was empty except for a table and 2 chairs. There was a thick glass wall in the middle of the room. I waited. It felt like forever. Then, a door opened on the other side of the glass. Mark walked in. He was wearing an orange jumpsuit. It was not his color. His clothes were usually soft colors, blue and gray. This orange was loud. It was wrong. He sat down in the chair on his side. He looked at me through the glass. His face was pale. He had dark circles under his eyes. He looked older. He picked up a phone on his side of the glass. I picked up the phone on my side. "Tina," he said. His voice was quiet. It was tired. "Are you okay?" I wanted to scream. Was he okay? What was happening? But I did not scream. "Mark, what is going on?" I asked. "The police won't tell me anything." He closed his eyes for a moment. He looked so sad. "I can't explain everything right now," he said. "It's complicated. Complicated. Our life was not complicated. Our life was simple. That is what I loved about it." "Mark, you have to tell me something," I begged. "They broke down our door. They put you in handcuffs. You sell computers." He looked at me. His eyes were full of pain. "Listen to me, Tina," he said. "I love you. Everything I did to protect you. You have to believe me. Protect me." From what? His words were like puzzle pieces, but they did not fit together. They made no sense. "Go home, Tina," he said. "Just wait. It will all be okay." A guard came and stood behind him. Our time was up. I put my hand on the cold glass. He put his hand on his side of the glass. Our hands were so close, but we could not touch. They led him away. I sat there with the phone in my hand. It was silent. I was alone again. I went home to our broken apartment. Home did not feel like home anymore. It felt like a strange place, a place with secrets. I needed to understand. If Mark could not tell me, I had to find out myself. It was a scary thought. I was not a brave person. I liked quiet and simple things. But my love for Mark was not quiet or simple. It was big, and it was strong. I had to be strong for him, for us. You know, sometimes you think you are weak, but then life puts you in a hard place, and you find a strength you did not know you had. Maybe you have felt this too. I started in his office. It was a small room in our apartment. He had a desk, a computer, and some papers. It all looked normal. I looked through his papers. Bills, letters from his company, nothing strange. I turned on his computer. It had a password. I tried his birthday. No, I tried my birthday. No, I tried our anniversary. The computer opened. I felt a small bit of hope. Maybe I would find an answer. I looked through his files, his emails. Everything was about selling computers, work schedules, customer emails, reports. It was all so normal. It was boring. It was the life I thought we had. Was I crazy? Did I imagine the police? Did I imagine the fear in his eyes? No, it was real. I knew it was real. I sat back in his chair. I felt defeated. What was I looking for? I did not even know. I looked around the small room. My eyes stopped on the floor. Under his desk, there was a small rug. I had always liked that rug. It was blue with a yellow pattern. I had never moved it. Why would I? I got on my knees. My heart was beating fast. This felt silly, but I had to check everything. I pulled the rug back. The floor was made of wood, dark wood panels. One of the panels looked different. It was a little bit loose. My fingers trembled as I touched it. I could lift it. It was a secret compartment. My breath caught in my throat. This was not normal. This was not simple. Under the floor panel, there was a small metal box. It was locked. Of course, it was locked. I looked around the room. Where would he hide a key? I looked in his desk drawers again. In the back of one drawer, under some old pens, I found a very small key. It was silver. It looked old. With a shaking hand, I put the key in the lock of the box. It turned. I opened the box. Inside, my simple, quiet life ended forever. There was a passport. I picked it up. The picture was of Mark, my Mark. He looked younger. But the name was not Mark. The name was David. David Chen. Who was David Chen? Under the passport, there was a lot of money, more money than I had ever seen. And under the money, there was a photograph. It was an old photo. Mark, or David, was in it. He was with 3 other men. They all looked very serious. They were standing in front of a strange building. I did not recognize it. I closed the box. I put it back under the floor. I covered it with the rug. I sat on the floor for a long time. My mind was spinning. Who was my husband? He was not Mark, a computer salesman. He was David Chen. And David Chen had secrets. He had a secret name. He had a secret box of money. He had a secret past. Everything I knew was a lie. Our life was a lie. Our simple, quiet, happy life. I felt so many things. I was scared. I was angry. I was so sad. I felt a deep pain in my chest. It hurt to breathe. Had he ever loved me? Or was I just a part of his lie? His new, simple life. I thought about his words in the jail. Everything I did to protect you. Maybe his old life was dangerous. Maybe he ran away from it. And maybe it had found him. It had found us. I had a choice. I could run away. I could leave this apartment and this life full of lies, or I could stay. I could try to understand. I could try to find the truth. It's a hard thing to choose between what is easy and what is right. Running away felt easy, but my heart told me to stay. My heart still loved the man I married, even if I did not know who he was. The next few days were strange. I tried to live a normal life. I went to my job at the library. I smiled at people. I put books on shelves, but my mind was far away. It was in a small, gray room with a glass wall. It was in a box under the floor. At night, I would take out the box. I would look at the passport. David Chen. I would look at the photograph. Who were those men? I would count the money. Why did he have so much cash? One evening, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I usually did not answer unknown numbers, but something told me to answer this time. "Hello," I said. My voice was small. "Is this Tina?" a man's voice asked. It was a deep voice, a cold voice. "Yes," I said. "Who is this?" "You don't know me," the voice said. "But I know your husband, David." He said the name, the secret name. My blood turned to ice. "Stop looking for things," the man said. "Stop asking questions. It is dangerous for you. Forget about him." Then he hung up. I dropped the phone. It clattered on the floor. I was shaking. Someone was watching me. They knew I was looking for answers. They were threatening me. Fear is a powerful thing. It can make you want to hide. It can make you want to disappear. And I wanted to hide. I wanted to run and never look back. I cried that night. I cried for my simple life. I cried for the man I thought I knew. And I cried because I was so scared. But then something changed. After the tears, I felt a new feeling. Anger. Who was this person to threaten me? This was my life, my home, my husband. I was not going to let some stranger on the phone scare me away. Maybe I was not a brave person before, but I had to be brave now. I had to be brave for Mark, for David, for myself. I looked at the photograph again, the one from the box. The building in the background was the only clue I had. It looked old. It had a special kind of window, a round window. I decided to use the computer, but not Mark's computer. I went to the library. I used a public computer. I searched for images of old buildings with round windows. It was a long search. I looked at thousands of pictures. My eyes hurt. I felt hopeless. Then I saw it. It was a picture of an old factory. It was in a town about 3 hours away from our city. The factory was closed now, but the building was still there, and it had the same round window. The picture was on a local news website. The article was about the factory closing down years ago, but in the comments section below the article, someone had written something strange. That place was always trouble. Everyone knows what happened there. The Chen family business. Chen, the name was David Chen, my husband's secret name. My heart started to beat faster. The Chen family business. This was a real clue. This was something. I wrote down the name of the town. I wrote down the name of the factory. I knew what I had to do. It was a crazy idea. It was a dangerous idea. The man on the phone had warned me, but I had to go. I had to see this place. The next day, I told my boss I was sick. I got in my small car and I drove. The city got smaller in my rearview mirror. The buildings turned into trees. I drove for 3 hours. My hands were tight on the steering wheel. I was scared. Every car that passed me made me jump. Was it the man from the phone? Was he following me? It's hard to be brave when you feel so alone. You feel like everyone is watching you. Maybe you have felt that way too. It's a heavy feeling. I arrived in the small town. It was quiet, very different from my city. The factory was easy to find. It was big and old and empty. It looked sad. I parked my car across the street. I just sat there and looked at it. It was the building from the photograph. I was sure of it. What happened here? What was the Chen family business? I got out of my car. I walked towards the factory. There was a fence around it, but there was a small hole in the fence. I could go inside. My mind was screaming, "Don't go, it's dangerous." But my feet kept walking. I went through the hole in the fence. The ground was covered in broken glass and old weeds. I walked to the front of the building. The door was locked with a big, rusty chain. I looked through a dirty window. It was dark inside. I could not see anything. I walked around the side of the building. I felt like I was in a movie again, a scary movie. I found a small side door. It was not locked. It was stuck. I pushed it hard. It opened with a loud creak. I stepped inside. The air was cold and smelled like dust and rain. It was very dark. Light came through the dirty windows in small stripes. I could see big, old machines. They were covered in dust and spider webs. They looked like sleeping giants. I walked slowly. My footsteps echoed in the big, empty space. "Hello," I called out. My voice sounded small. Only the echo answered me. I was alone. What was I looking for? I did not know. I just felt like I needed to be here. This place was a part of Mark's past, a part of David's past. I saw some stairs. They went down to a basement. I did not want to go down there, but I knew I had to. I used the light from my phone to see. The stairs were made of concrete. They were steep and scary. I went down slowly, step by step. The air got colder. The basement was one big room. There were old boxes and broken furniture everywhere. In the corner of the room, I saw something. It was a metal desk, like an office desk. There were papers all over it. They were old and yellow. I walked to the desk. I looked at the papers. They were business papers, invoices, receipts, and they all had a name on them, Chen Imports, the Chen family business. I looked through more papers. Most of it was normal. Orders for car parts, shipments of electronics. But then I found a different kind of ledger, a notebook. I opened it. Inside there were names, and next to the names there were numbers, large numbers. It was not a normal business ledger. The writing was in code, but some of the notes were not in code. I saw words like payment and shipment. And I saw the names of cities all over the world. This was not a business for car parts. This was something else, something illegal. My husband's family was involved in something illegal. And I was standing in the middle of it. Suddenly, I heard a noise from upstairs. A floorboard creaked. My heart stopped. I was not alone. Someone else was in the factory. I quickly turned off the light on my phone. I hid under the metal desk. I held my breath. I tried to be completely silent. I could hear footsteps. They were slow. They were walking across the floor above me. Who was it? Was it the man from the phone? Had he followed me here? I was so scared. I thought my heart would beat out of my chest. I closed my eyes. I prayed they would not find me. The footsteps stopped, right above the stairs to the basement. I heard a man's voice. "I know you're down there," he said. The voice was deep. It was the voice from the phone. My blood ran cold. He knew. He knew I was here. I stayed silent. I did not move. Maybe he was wrong. Maybe he would leave. "Your husband was a fool to leave us," the voice said. "And you are a fool to come here. This does not concern you." I could hear him start to walk towards the stairs. I had to do something. I could not just wait for him to find me. I looked around in the dark. My hand touched something cold and metal. It was a heavy pipe lying on the floor. I grabbed it. My hand was shaking so much. I was not a fighter. I was a librarian. I could see the light from his flashlight coming down the stairs. It was getting closer. I took a deep breath. I thought of Mark. I thought of his face behind the glass. I thought of his words, "I love you." I stood up. I held the pipe tightly. When the man reached the bottom of the stairs, I screamed. It was a loud, angry scream. I ran at him. I swung the pipe. I did not hit him. He was too fast. He grabbed my arm. The pipe fell to the floor with a loud clang. He was a big man, much stronger than me. He held both of my arms. His face was close to mine. I could see his eyes in the dim light. They were cold. "You should have listened," he said. "I thought it was over. I thought he was going to hurt me." But then we heard another sound. Sirens, police sirens. They were getting closer, louder and louder. The man's eyes widened. He cursed. He let go of me and ran. He ran back up the stairs. I heard him running through the factory. I heard a door slam. Then he was gone. I was left alone in the dark basement, shaking. The police sirens stopped right outside the factory. I heard doors open and close. I heard voices. I slowly walked up the stairs. My legs felt like jelly. When I got to the main floor, I saw police officers. They were shining their flashlights everywhere. One of them saw me. He pointed his gun at me. "Freeze. Don't move," he shouted. I put my hands up. "I'm his wife," I said. My voice was weak. "I'm David Chen's wife." It turned out the police had been watching the man who followed me. They had been watching his whole organization for a long time. My husband, David, had been part of it. His family ran a smuggling ring. They moved illegal goods all over the world. It was a dangerous business. David wanted to leave. He fell in love with me. He wanted a normal, simple life. So he made a deal with the police. He agreed to testify against his family and their organization. In exchange, they would give him a new name, a new life. He became Mark, a computer salesman. He met me. We built our simple life. It was real. Our love was real. But he was always looking over his shoulder, always scared his old life would find him. And it did. The police arrested him to protect him. His old partners had found out where he was. They thought he had stolen money from them. The man in the factory was one of them. He came for the money in the box. The police had put Mark in protective custody. It was not a real jail. It was a safe place. They told me everything. It was a long story, a story of crime and secrets, and a man who wanted to escape. My husband was not a simple man. He had a dark past, but he had tried to be a good man. For me, after a few weeks, there was a big trial. David, my husband, was the main witness. His testimony helped put many dangerous people in prison, including the man from the factory. After the trial, David was free. He was truly free from his past. He came home, to our apartment, to me. It was strange at first. I looked at him and saw both Mark and David. The kind, simple man I married, and the brave, complicated man who had faced his past. We talked for a long time, for days. He told me everything, about his family, about his old life. He cried. He said he was so sorry for lying to me. He was just so scared of losing me. I listened, and I understood. Love is not always simple. Sometimes it is messy and complicated. It has secrets, and it has pain. But real love is also about forgiveness. It is about seeing the whole person, the good parts and the bad parts, and loving them anyway. Our life is different now. We had to move to a new city. We have new names, but we are together. Our life is quiet again. But it is a new kind of quiet. It is not a quiet built on secrets. It is a quiet built on truth. And it is much stronger. I still have my small plant. I still water it every day. Our love is like that plant. It went through a hard winter, but it did not die. It grew new roots, and it is stronger than ever. I learned something from all of this. I learned that I am not weak. I am strong. I faced my fears. I walked into a dark factory. I fought for my husband. I fought for our love. I found a strength inside me that I never knew I had. Maybe you have that strength inside you too. Life can be scary. It can break your heart. But it can also make you brave. It can show you who you really are. My husband is not who I thought he was. He is so much more. And so am I. You can do this too. You can be brave. Keep going. You are stronger than you know.